What's up, desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and in this video we're discussing Andrew jacked 2 weeks out. Will he win Texas? Plus, what are people saying about him that have seen him in person? Fabian Rabia retires from bodybuilding. What's next for him? Does Hany Rambod want to keep Derek Lunsford in the 212s? Quinton Eriya's crazy transformation? Did Florian Poirson lose all his muscle trying to make Classic Physique? Keone Pearson shredded it 1 week out, plus he has some serious competition. We got all that plus much more coming up in this video, guys. I hope you enjoy it. What's up, desktopers? Now, before I get into this one, I want to encourage you guys, if you like and appreciate this content, please give this video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button if you're not subscribed yet. That way you won't miss out on any of the content that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding, including our all new podcast, Bodybuilding University, with myself, Nathan Diasha, Brett Wilkin, and Martin Fitzwater. We've got 7 episodes up now, so make sure you check all of them out and leave some comments, give some thumbs up, share them out on Instagram, all that good stuff, because it helps the channel out a huge amount. And the more you guys do that, the more videos you're going to get on this channel, and maybe even an extra podcast in the future too. And in our first story, we're going to discuss Andrew jacked 2 weeks out of the Texas Pro, looking fantastic, posing there for Mil Sarchev and Steve Weinberger there in the Dragon's Lair gym out there in Vegas. This dude looks fantastic, and he's a tall guy as well. I don't know exactly how tall, if it's like 6'1", 6'2", something like that. I spoke to Mil Sarchev on the phone yesterday, and he said he's about 6'1", 6'2", and he looks absolutely crazy right now. 2 weeks out, he looks like he's right on track. He's coached by George Farah and also helped by Flex Wheeler in the gym, and I believe with his posing as well. So he's got a great combination of coaches there, and I've got to tell you that everyone that I've spoken to that has seen him in person, in that Dragon's Lair gym and anywhere else, are saying that he's super impressive in person. He actually looks better in person, but he looks in photos and videos and all that sort of stuff. So after Mikael Krizo was actually out there in the Dragon's Lair gym, I'm actually hearing more hype about Andrew jacked, which is crazy to say because Mikael Krizo is one of the craziest guys, that's come from the IFBB Elite League, obviously. I believe actually Andrew jacked qualified to be an Elite Pro as well. I don't know if he accepted that pro card or not, or how that actually worked out in the end, because I don't know if he did any Elite shows, but he's obviously made that transition, turned pro in the IFBB Pro League, and he's competing in Texas too. So I'm very, very excited to see how he does at the Texas Pro. Can he actually win that show? Because there's going to be a lot of good names jumping in there as well. I believe Quinton Eriya will be jumping in there. I've heard Steve Kuklow's doing it, a whole bunch of names, and obviously there's a ton of big names doing that Tampa Pro, but I assume we'll roll over and do that Texas Pro just 1 week later too. So let me know what you think in the comments below about Andrew jacked. Can he win the Texas Pro? How would he do in the Mr. Olympia in 2022 if he does qualify? And yeah, just what do you think about his physique overall? Because I think it's pretty crazy. He's got such a crazy thick chest. The only thing you'd probably say he can improve is maybe his posing a little bit, just to hold those poses and hit him a little bit harder, a bit more aggressive when he's on stage, but he may do that once he hits the stage as well. But the potential on this guy and how good he looks right now is just absolutely through the roof. I definitely think that he's a potential future Mr. Olympia. In our next story, we're discussing Quinton Eriya's crazy transformation. You'll see here the photos on the left is from 4 weeks out last year from his first contest, and the photos on the right are 2 weeks out from his first contest this year. And you can see here straight away that the fullness in the upper body is the biggest difference, and you can just tell with that fullness comes more hardness as well. So many guys think that you can just diet down and you just get harder and harder and harder. But at a certain point, you actually start to atrophy a little bit of muscle, or you just lose that fullness and that certain look to the muscle. And if you lose the fullness of a muscle, it's not going to push hard up against the skin. So you can tell the difference here. They're probably almost exactly the same body fat percentage wise, or very, very close to it. It's just that Quinton has more muscle and more fullness in the pictures on the right, and it really shows through. It makes his conditioning look that much better as well. Maybe he's a little bit sharper on the right overall, but I bet it's not even that much. I think he's just a lot harder. He probably didn't kill himself and deplete quite as much this prep, but overall he looks like he's just added more tissue, especially on that upper body as well. And you're seeing those deeper lines. He looks drier overall, and that side chest, he's just bursting full. You can see it a crazy amount through his delts, his chest, his arms, really absolutely everything on his physique. So very, very excited to see what Quinton Eriya brings at the contest this year, and if he does qualify for that 2022 Mr. Olympia. And as you can see on the side chest as well, you can see the glutes. It's quite shadowed just because of the lighting, obviously, but you can see some lines on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, you can't see that. So I think Quinton Eriya is probably an all-time best conditioning or very close to it right now, and I think he's going to bring a much improved package to the stage. But let me know what you think. Is Quinton Eriya future Mr. Olympia, and how do you think he'll do in 2022? Our next physique update is from a guy doing the Tampa Pro this weekend, but in the 212s, and it's Kerrith Bajjo, looking crazy 1 week out. He's coached by Justin Miller. He posted up some of these videos, or maybe Kerrith did, I can't quite remember, but he's actually defending that 212 Tampa title that he won last year, I believe, and I think he's his all-time best right now. So obviously he's going to be some stiff competition for some of these other guys doing it, including Keone Pearson, who posted up some crazy physique updates. And the most impressive ones I've seen is of his legs, because his legs are sort of something that, you know, his upper body's absolutely insane, you know, the whole structure of it, plus the muscle bellies and the amount of muscle he has on his upper body as well. But his legs were always sort of really good, but not quite to the level of his upper body. But the conditioning he's bringing in through his legs right now is pretty crazy. Seeing his quad locked out and seeing, you know, not only the outer sweep striated and cross-striated, but his actual medialis, which is that muscle just on the inside of the knee, that's actually cross-striated as well. And then you see the legs from the side, and you can see obviously the glutes are coming in, the hamstrings are obviously very separated from the quads, and just overall, very, very impressed by this leg physique update. And then you can see the upper body here, side tricep looking pretty crazy. It's looking full, and it's also looking very, very conditioned as well. So I cannot wait for this battle between Kerrith Bajjo. Obviously you got Keone Pearson, obviously you got Nathan Epler, you got a whole bunch of other names too. I'm actually forgetting a whole ton of names off the top of my head. Ricky Moten. This 212 lineup is going to be such a stacked top 5, maybe even a stacked top 10. So I cannot wait for that this weekend. And make sure you do subscribe, hit the notification bell button, because I'm going to be covering it all here on Desktop Bodybuilding. Our next story is a big one, because Fabian Rabia, who is actually a guy who, you know, had a lot to say, I suppose, about guys like Chris Bumstead and all these other guys that are competing in the Classic Physique. He was making the move and actually competed in an open show just a few weeks back, I believe, as a Puerto Rico pro. He looked fantastic. Honestly, I was so excited after I saw this physique on stage at the Puerto Rico Pro, because I was like, this dude adds a bit more muscle. He's got the shape, he's got the lines, he's got the structure. This guy can go all the way if he really wants to dedicate himself to it. But he actually posted up this, deleted actually all his photos on his social media -2, and that might just be the 2 he's posted up recently. And he had the caption on the most recent one saying, "I decided to retire from the world of bodybuilding. I will no longer get on a stage. I'm chasing some dreams that have dragged on since my childhood, and I want to remain firm in those desires. You can take my time to think about it, and it was my decision. Thank you for the support you've given me since my beginning as a bodybuilder," and put a love heart at the end. So very, very surprising. I was a big fan, obviously, of Fabian's physique. Still a big fan of his physique. I'd love to see him back on a bodybuilding stage once again. But like I said, it's his choice. He's allowed to do what he wants. And if he doesn't want to be in bodybuilding, I did see in his profile it actually says something about actor as well. So perhaps he's pursuing acting as well. And, you know, who knows, if he goes on to make it big in acting, then it'll definitely be the right decision. So best of luck to Fabian Rabia. And if he ever wants to come on Desktop Bodybuilding, either with a translator or if he can speak English, I would love to have him on for an interview as well to, I suppose, decipher things and really, I suppose, get inside his mind and find out what drives him and what his plans are going forward. Now, next story is about the NPC USA's winner is competing in the Tampa Pro. So this guy, Stuart Sutherland, won the NPC USA's overall, and I'm very, very impressed, because obviously there's so many pro qualifiers now and there's so many pro cards given away, but sometimes that lessens the talent. But this guy is talented. He is ready to go into the pro league, and I am super, super impressed. His conditioning at the USA's was good. I would say he needs to be a little bit sharper to be competitive for a win in a pro league contest. But honestly, looking at this guy's physique, he could challenge for a pro win at those earlier contests this year, I believe. I would love to see how he would have done if he was on stage at every pro show earlier this year. But let me know what you think in the comments below. How far do you think this guy will go? Because Stuart Sutherland, I mean, I am so crazy impressed. I didn't know anything about this guy until he competed at the USA's this weekend, and he has a stellar physique. So let me know what you think in the comments below. How do you think he'll do in the future, not only this year at the Tampa Pro, but also going forward as well? Is he a Mr. Olympia top 5, top 10 guy? Let me know your thoughts. In our next story, we're discussing Florian Poirson. Has he lost all his muscle as he makes the transition from open bodybuilding to classic physique? I've mentioned this guy a few times recently. I saw this photo and I thought, has he lost all his muscle? Has he shrank right down? I'm trying to decipher between all these photos. If he is too small, is he going to do well in classic? Or is it a wrong move to make from going from open to classic? But I thought, let's all smoke a doob like he is in this photo and relax a little bit, because some of the other physique updates, he looks fantastic and he looks like he could challenge Chris Bumstead. But I'm undecided. I don't know how he'll do in classic, because he could come in looking like almost how Regan Grimes did, who looked good in classic. He won the New York Pro, obviously, but he finished more down towards 10th or something in the classic physique. And as we know, classic physique is actually tougher now than when Regan Grimes did it. So I look at this side chest pose, and if he shows up like this on stage, now I think the filter he actually uses across his whole Instagram actually makes him look a little softer, because I'm seeing other photos that go up from, you know, Patrick Tour, and I see some other unfiltered photos where he looks a lot crisper and a lot more hard just overall. So I'm seeing this side chest, and I think just overall he looks a little bit, I suppose, deflated and soft, and his muscle really isn't pushing against the skin, as I mentioned earlier about how that sort of does that. But I think that once he fills out, if he has enough time to fill out, because the weigh-ins for these shows varies as well. Sometimes it's the day before, sometimes it's 2 days before. So if it's 2 days before, he'll have that 48 hours to fill up and come in, hopefully bursting full. But sometimes you can just diet away the muscle too much. But when I look at these other photos, he looks separated, he looks great, and I think he just needs to more fill out his upper body more than anything. But let me know what you think. How will Florian do in the classic physique? Can he challenge? Can he place a top 5 in the classic physique Olympia? I'd love to see it, because I'm a big fan of his physique, and hopefully once he fills out, his physique really just comes alive and looks absolutely next level, as it does right now. But obviously Instagram and being on stage are two different things. Now, in our last story, I'm discussing, does Hany Rambod want to keep Derek Lunsford in the 212s? Now, Hany Rambod is Derek Lunsford's coach, as many of you guys will know before actually me telling you this. But I believe I actually listened to an interview, or watched an interview, with Kamal El-Gagni being interviewed by Ron Harris, and they were discussing his move from the 212s to the Open. And in that as well, Kamal El-Gagni mentioned that he will do the 212 Olympia, as many of you guys know by now as well, regardless of if he wins this show or whatever. Now, this interview is no longer up on Muscular Development, if it was on MD as well, because I know it was an interview of Kamal El-Gagni, and I'm 99% sure it was on Muscular Development. This interview is gone. I want to take a clip from this interview, because Kamal El-Gagni actually made a comment, because he trains in the same gym as Derek Lunsford, and he said, I've spoken to Derek, and he sort of was saying that he believes Derek Lunsford should do the Open. You know, obviously, if he gets an invite, because it doesn't seem like he's prepping for any shows right now, unless it's for Mr. Olympia, which is 20 weeks away, because those last shows right before the Olympia are not 2022 Olympia qualifiers. So if he wanted to qualify for the Open, he would have to basically get a special invite or prep really quick for a show. So I don't think that's going to happen. Now, Kamal did say, when he spoke to Derek about it, he said, it's not me, it's Hany. So I believe that's a quote. I did write it down when I was listening to the interview as well. So basically that says to me that Hany Rambod wants to keep Derek Lunsford in the 212. Rambod obviously has Hadi Chupin that's going to be in the Open, who is looking spectacular, that can win the Open Mr. Olympia. So obviously he has 2 guys that he's prepping where he knows that only potentially 1 guy, you know, maximum, can win that Mr. Olympia. If he has 1 guy in the 212s and 1 guy in the Open, he could have, you know, Hadi Chupin win the Open and Derek Lunsford win the 212s. I'd say that would be a distinct possibility. If that happens, it's probably better than being a 3rd and a 1st in the Open, or a 2nd and a 4th in the Open, or whatever. So I think Hany Rambod probably doesn't want the thing that he had back in the day when he had Jay Cutler and Phil Heath prepping for the Open Mr. Olympia. So potentially that's the reason why, or maybe he just thinks that Derek Lunsford isn't quite ready yet. But let me know what you think in the comments below about this. And if you have seen that interview as well, let me know in the comments below, so I don't feel like I'm going crazy thinking that maybe this interview never happened or is a dream or something. But no, I know it wasn't. I know I listened to it because I wrote it down. It was in my notes on my computer. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. If you guys like and appreciate the content, give the video a thumbs up, smash the like button, and that's it for me. For Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding, we are out.